Welcome to Author Toolset Tuesday. Today's quote comes from Barbara Kingsolver, who said, "There is no perfect time to write. There is only now." Hi there. My name is Christopher Diarmani, and I help authors go from blank page to finished first draft to published book with ease. And one of the tools that I use to help authors do that is the tool of immediacy. So we want to make sure that we're killing procrastination as quickly and as easily as possible. And there's a couple of really easy ways to go about that. So with that, let's get underway. And so first off, I want to point out that this is truly great advice from Barbara Kingsolver. And she really ought to know, because every single book that she's written since 1993 has hit the New York Times bestseller list. So she clearly understands how to get a book written, and how to get a book written well, and how to get it published and sold. So we could do worse than taking advice from her. So here's the thing. If we wait for inspiration to grace us with its presence, we're never going to write, right? If we wait for motivation to strike, well, same thing. We're probably going to be waiting a really long time before we start getting our words written. And if we wait until we actually want to write, well, odds are, again, that first draft, that published book, it's going to be a long time coming. So my advice for you, my encouragement for you, is probably a better word, my encouragement for you is to simply change your outlook on writing. Change how you approach your writing sessions. So number one, and the whole point of all this, I mean, this is not brain surgery, this is simple stuff. And yet it's places where we all fall down far too often. So literally, here's the steps to starting to write every single day at the appointed hour, whatever that might be for you. Sit down at your desk. Pretty straightforward, right? Open up your computer or your notebook, or if you're using a typewriter, feed a brand new page into it, get it all set up. Put your fingers on the keyboard or your hand, put the pencil or pen into your hand, and then start. That's it. None of this has to be difficult. In fact, yes, as shocking as it might sound, writing truly is this simple. Sit down, begin. That's it. But the problem for most of us is that between sit down and begin, we interject all this other garbage, all these other stupid thoughts, all these other negative thoughts, all these things that actually sort of waylay us from the task that we know we should do, and ultimately the job that we know we were born to do, right? If it's on your heart to write a book, it's because you want to do this. So why do all these mental games go on? I wish I had the answer for that. I really do. Because what I know from my own life experience of writing for, 40 plus years, the hardest part some days can be getting my butt into the chair. That's it. Once the butt's in the chair, typically everything goes fairly well. But, there are still some days where, procrastination and other dumb thoughts go wandering through. But if you're struggling with that, I would highly encourage you to do what I do on those really difficult days. Lie to yourself. Grab yourself a 2-minute timer from your local dollar store, or put a 2-minute timer on your smartphone, whatever works for you, and simply write for 2 minutes. The lie is, I tell myself I only have to write for 2 minutes, and often on those days I have no clue what to write. So I simply start writing something like this. I have no clue what I'm going to write, but I'm going to keep writing until the proper words show up. And I just continue rambling until something coherent comes onto the page. Because all that crap that gets me going, all the stuff that's used to fire up the writing engine, if you will, hit delete. Who cares? The point of those, useless words, if you want to use that term, is to get the engine fired up and started. And once it's started, then all the proper things will come out, and away you'll go. But my encouragement, of course, is to do whatever it takes to get from your butt in the chair to your hands on the keyboard and doing something, putting words on the page. Because once you get a single word on that page, it's no longer that big blank thing staring back at you. There's now something on it, and there's something that you can work with. So do whatever you have to do, whatever you can do, to build that daily writing habit as well. This is also something that I'm a huge advocate of, for the obvious reason is it takes out all that decision-making stuff. So when say it's 4 o'clock, and that's the time every day that I've scheduled for writing. Well, at 4 o'clock I sit down on my chair and I write. That's it. I've removed the decision making from that process. That's now becoming an automatic thing. And the more days that I do that in a row, the easier that automatic stuff takes over. And that makes getting started and getting the words down so much easier. So, as I exhort on a regular basis, schedule your writing sessions. Because if they're not scheduled, odds are they're not going to get done. Whenever I tell myself I'll do this later, there's always some more important emergency, some more dire thing that must be done or else that will show up and get in the way, when in reality, whatever those mini emergencies are, they can wait. Unless it's, my wife has fallen down out of a heart attack or something silly like that, then everything else is a temporary issue that can wait, for the half hour, for the 45 minutes, for the hour of your writing session, whatever it might be. Schedule those sessions. Keep those appointed sessions with yourself. Really, really important to do that, because this is all part of that building a habit. And then write for the allotted time. So whatever the length of time is that you've scheduled to write for that entire time. You can always write for more, but never allow yourself to skimp out on this. Never allow yourself to do less than what you committed to. That commitment to yourself is hugely, hugely important. And the other part of this, of course, is to write whether you feel like it or not. There's lots of days I don't feel like writing, but so what? My finished book, my finished article, my finished whatever it is that I'm working on in that moment, couldn't care less whether I feel like writing or not. All it wants is to be completed. And the only way that can happen is if I sit down and do the job that I was supposed to do at the appointed time for the allotted length of time. Simple stuff. Like as I've said a lot of times, writing isn't difficult. Getting started can be a bit of a challenge. Building the habit can be a bit of a challenge. But the actual mechanics of writing a book are really, really simple. And that's why I place such a huge focus on building habits, building mindsets that allow us to do all this stuff more easily. Because anything we can do to automate ourselves to get the job done, the better. The more we can remove the decision-making process of just a simple thing of like, well, when am I going to write today? If I can remove that decision from my day and turn that into an automatic thing that's done at every time at a certain time every day, all the better, because it's one less thing I have to try and figure out. It's already been done. And that's the beauty of the schedule. It's the beauty of just sitting down and doing it, right? Ultimately, this is how your book gets written. If you don't do these things, can you write a book? Yeah, of course you can. Anything is possible. But when you follow these simple bits of advice, it makes it so much easier to complete that task on schedule, on time. I've talked about manuscript math before. You can determine exactly how many days it's going to take you to write your first draft. But it requires doing things like this, creating a schedule, keeping the commitment to yourself to get that done. All right? So I hope that's been helpful. If it was, I would love for you to like it and share it. And if there was something that jumped out at you, something that sort of resonated for you specifically, I would love for you to share that in the comments, because if it's resonating for you, my bet is it's resonating for someone else as well. I would also love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, all the social media accounts. And you can find links to all of my accounts at sleekbio.com/Christopher. Very simple. There is no perfect time to write. There is only now. Sit down and do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't allow yourself to play the what if game, because the second that you sit down and simply do it, all the words are going to flow. That's how this all works. So with that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Bye for now.